set. They don't have to compete against Ohio State, LSU, Notre Dame, and you got
LSU come to Mississippi now.
People use Mississippi as going in there and getting those 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, and then they out.
Right,
Houston, coach, they go down and set for weeks. Florida, they set for weeks. California, they set for weeks. Plus, like you just said, the schools that sit in Texas, the colleges that sit in Florida, the colleges that sit. The whole West recruit all the junior colleges in California. The whole West does.
But I guess what my question was, if it goes to Rocky's point, and this is why, and I said this to Lionel from Prairie View, you guys are in Texas. Prairie View should be good, coach. They should be good. There are a surplus of players down there. So again, to Zoe's point of what he was trying to say is, no, we don't need 4 and 5 stars. And again, you don't need 4 and 5 stars to win swag. That's just a fact. You don't. So you're not going to tell me if you had, which again, we talked about Tremaine Jackson or somebody that had inroads and thought about what FAMU was doing. Let's get these guys that come back, or those 2-star good Florida players, because there's so many good 2-stars in Florida. Why Prairie View can't do the same?
Just hold your thought right there. Let me come right back.
But what I'm interested in as a P, my daughter's a PV student, and I always want, because when I look at PV's roster, probably 40 to 50% of their roster is out of state, right? And I'm like, why is that the case?
That makes no sense. That's bad recruitment. You're not going to tell me, man. You guys, that's what I'm saying. It's so. I'll give you this, Rocky. Your 1-star and 2-star player are probably better than a lot of states 3 and 4-star players.
So what am I wrong about, Isaiah? Please tell me what I'm wrong about.
Look, guys. Can I? Man, I did it. I did it. I did it. I know how to do it in Texas.
Did you do it? What I'm saying is, did you do it with Texas players, coach?
Yes, sir.
Where'd you get them from, coach?
My team was from Texas, and I only was there with 3 years.
Coach, where'd you get them from? Did you get them from high school?
Yes.
College or transfers?
And transfers.
Oh, okay.
I did it. High school, JUCOs, and transfers.
Well, that's the point. So listen, what he just said was the blueprint right there. So you're not gonna tell me, and he was at Texas Southern, okay, that won a championship. And so listen, that was 2 games on the schedule. That was automatic win. So the fact that coach won a championship should tell you that there are players in Texas.
All over there, coach. And you know the players I was getting on my transfers was former Houston high school players that had went off places and didn't make, and we were able to get some of those guys back. I had a safety from Minnesota, another safety from Texas, a defensive back from Notre Dame, a linebacker from LSU, several players from LSU that were Texas kids. And you're right. Zoe. You're right. But Jackson State has always been that. Y'all have always dominated with Mississippi players because y'all could get the best. You know what I'm saying? And like you just said, Cameron, you're correct. It's so many players down there. Ain't no way that Prairie View and Texas Southern shouldn't be competitive. It ain't no way.
And
that's leading me to our next conversation.
Yeah, there you go. I'm about to say, I'm going to give you the transition. I know you're doing that. Go ahead, coach.
I need to, Rocky, you got my folks?
Yeah.
Man, look, guys, I'm throwing the flag up. I'm going to be a hater tonight. Johnnie Cole admit that I'm going to hate on some folk tonight. All right? I'm going to hate. These celebrity coaches have worn me thin. These institutions and these people are making these choices on going out and getting these NFL players coming to run our schools. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. We're sitting up here and these people are supposed to be taking our state funds and our state money and going out and getting the best people they can get. And I'm reading an article and they're saying we want this guy because he played NFL, because I don't want to use names. He played NFL. Well, he can run our team. All we need to do is go out and get him some experienced guys. I'm thinking to myself, well, Well, we need to hire the experienced guys and give him the job and make him the face, like the PWI schools. No PWI school has taken a player with no coaching experience, none. I know the dude at UAB. I know y'all gonna say that, and brought him in to be the face of our program and have no coaching experience. That's never happened in PWI football. I don't know why that we do it. When you go to HBCU, are we not good enough to come back and coach our teams? Are we not good enough to be leaders and understand that we got skin in the game? That not only we want to win football games, we want to develop young people. I don't understand that. I'm bringing my guy on, my college roommate. He's a CEO of the Neighborhood Association California, over 800 employees, over shit. I don't know, Coach. How many millions you deal with, Coach?
120 a year operating cost.
And of course, I got the legendary Zoe on, who's the media guy. I got a businessman on, and Rocky, and I got a legend and a historian of Black college football, guys. What is happening to us that HBCU degrees, HBCU coaches are just not good enough to come back? But I want to push it over to my man Rudy. Kind of introduce yourself, Rudy Johnson. He's my brother. I love him to death. Coach, go, and we gonna get on this thing. I'm throwing flags.
Wow. First of all, gentlemen,
I'm tired, Coach. I'm hating tonight. Hell no, they don't deserve a damn job. If you
Coach,
ain't
let's
got
just
no
say Michael
degree.
Vick. Coach don't like that Michael Vick got that job in Norfolk State. I'm gonna say it. We talking about
you
Michael
ain't got
Vick
no
tonight,
damn
y'all.
college
Get your
degree.
people, call all your people in, because we get ready to talk about Michael Vick, y'all.
Coach
So
said his
let's
name
listen
is
to
Silky
it.
Johnson tonight. Hey.
I'm sorry, Rudy, but go ahead.
No.
I'm hot tonight. I'm hating.
It's all good, Coach. And thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you. And fellas, I've been listening to the conversation. First of all, just kind of putting on my business hat. When you create systems, they need to be solid. They need to be flawless. They need to be excellent. And systems start at the very top of a system. So you're looking at individuals that set policy for the organization. That's generally your board of trustees. They hire a general who usually is the president of the university. They in turn have several direct reports. I'm assuming in most structures, the AD will report to your president of the university, and then the AD selects the suite of coaches. So when we're talking about issues like this, and Johnny, I say this to you all the time when we're talking in private, this is not an isolated issue where you're trying to hire a particular coach. In most cases, it's a flaw in the system, and it starts at the top. And so when you ask questions like, why can't HBCU alumni come back and work inside of an institution that produced them? It's usually because policymakers aren't embracing that concept on that campus, point blank. No other reason for it. That is the issue. Now, is that good for Black college football? I'm going to listen to you all debate that. But I think anytime you can have someone that has sweat in the game, that has given blood, sweat, and tears to the game, and has matriculated through an institution, is going to naturally have that passion, that focus for the institution coming back as a coach or an AD or a president for that matter. So that's my first take on what you said, Johnny. And I understand the passion and disappointment that you have because, again, we talk offline all the time. I would love to do more stuff for Texas Southern. There's not a day I don't think about Texas Southern in my professional life. Here's the problem. I don't know if Texas Southern thinks about me. They don't even know what I'm up to, right? And that's the problem with our HBCUs they don't understand the gold that they have to mine out there in the world, folks matriculating from these institutions. We don't do a very good job of staying in touch and staying connected to them. So I'll stop there and listen to the dialogue and love to weigh in.
Well,
All right.
well, like I mentioned in regard to, like I mentioned to the hiring, I think two things can be true. Like I stated, I'm pro HBCU and I'm pro, HBCU coaches coming up through the ranks. But and like all things, there are outliers. And I think a lot of time we like to deal in things being black and white, but in this particular situation, there's some gray area for this particular job. And I'm gonna use Michael Vick for an example because again, I may be in the minority. I don't think Michael Vick can go to any particular HBCU and everything will be the same. Will it generate buzz? Sure, because of who it is and the name. But when it's this particular job at this particular location, who he is, what he is, and where he's from, and what he's going to do for that particular place, and it's the institution in mind. I have to say that because that matters, right? And I'm gonna give you an example. Like I asked earlier, I was like, okay, Michael Vick at Pine Bluff, does it raise eyebrows? Sure, because it's Michael Vick. But this is different when you say Michael Vick at Norfolk State, because again, number one, it's the recruiting hotbed. Now, Rocky mentioned earlier, we talk all the time about what California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia, right? But when we talk about a concentrated area, man, it's South Florida. And I'm gonna tell you, I put 757 against a lot of places.
That Tidewater area has some elite talent.
When you talk about concentrated area and when it gets to the college ball and to the potential to the NFL. Also, look who's associated and tied to Michael Vick in this. He's a lightning rod. Deion Sanders was a lightning rod where it was me as a kid, but more or less my parents, but me. Now it's different because this is like Deion Sanders, but it's different because these players who play now, they've seen Michael Vick. They grew up, on the tail end of him playing. They saw it. And again, he's not as big as Prime, but yet he's still a lightning rod. And now you add to the fact he's from there. I told Scotty today, and I'll pass it to you, Steve. You got two examples of this, right? Kind of sort of three with Eddie Robinson at Alabama State, but Eddie Robinson wasn't a well-known player if he wasn't a football novice. I go to Deion Sanders and I go to Eddie George. I put Michael Vick in the middle of that. Michael Vick isn't Deion Sanders, and he's not Eddie George. And I say this because Tennessee State made a great hire with Eddie George. But Eddie George, watch this, played for the Tennessee Titans. He lived in the local Nashville area, so he was immersed to Tennessee State because he did business with him. Michael Vick is different because Michael Vick is homegrown, homebred in this area. Went to Virginia Tech, but he's from this area. He has ties to Allen Iverson. Aaron Brooks is his cousin. You know what I'm saying? Plus all these other players. It just makes logical sense. The closest thing I can make an example of this, and I mentioned this to Scotty, was this is basically Penny Hardaway coaching at Memphis. The only difference is Michael Vick didn't play at Norfolk State. But it matters because Norfolk State doesn't have a football pedigree. They've never won the MEAC. It's not like they're a blue blood or have any back tradition once a long time ago, yesteryear. Their greatest coach in their history won 60-something games. I mean, they got tarp over the seats for crying out loud. So to your point, I think hiring Michael Vick is good on both ends. And to be honest, they're in a lose-lose situation in doing this because nothing from nothing leaves nothing, right? They have nothing to lose and everything to gain in doing this because quite frankly, he's going to leave the job better than he found it, even if he really does anything because of the program where it's
one of the things they're gonna lose, they're probably gonna pay him about $300,000, and they're gonna probably give him a 4 years. That's $1.2 million. I think you're gonna lose that. But go ahead, Bishop.
Yeah, well, I want to ask Mr. Johnson, we got on here from a business standpoint, because this is a business decision. And I'm going to give two examples from a sports analogy, but then I'm going to ask you a business question. Because I think this is a question to Coach's point of talent versus fit, okay? So I'm going to use Sam Shade at Alabama at Miles College. He's a coach at Miles College, and there's an opening at Alabama A&M. That's a fit. That's a fit. He doesn't have the name as Michael Vick, but that's a fit. Now, with Norfolk, who has had the last 5 coaches who have not had any winning records, that's a talent. So, Mr. Johnson, you've been in the business. How many times have you had this decision? where you have a position that's open and you have a person that works for you that has worked that job compared to somebody that you read their resume but doesn't actually know the job, but you see they have talent to do the job. How do you make that delineation? Because I think that's where we're at right now. Do we have somebody who's been here that's kind of known? And I'm using Sam Shea, who I think will be a perfect fit because he's in Alabama, been there, will be perfect compared to Michael Vick, who has a talent to bring a resource to what's talking about. So that's the reason why I want to bring Mr. Johnson in, because I've had to face that question. So that kind of brings you into that from a business standpoint.
And Rudy,
no, absolutely.
Rudy, let me give you the background on Sam Shea. He played on that University of Alabama state championship team. He coached at Mount College now. He's from Alabama. He coached the team to the state title in Alabama. So he has plenty of Alabama ties and been coaching. So go ahead. I'll just give you the background on it.
So thank you for the question. I'm just going to answer the question purely from a business lens because I think that's what you want me to do. I'm your business expert tonight on the show, and I'll let you all handle football. So thank you for that analogy. We have had several opportunities to grow what we call our bench strength inside, right? So as a leader, I'm always looking to grow my bench strength for the very reason you just described. Someone may get an opportunity to move outside of our agency to take on a different role, different position. We want to grow that bench strength so they can step in and fulfill that position. Two business reasons why you want to do that. You invest a certain amount of money when folks come into your system. You have to train them. They have to go through orientation. They have to have a year of just understanding how we're moving and working as an organization. So you want to retain those individuals as long as you can, because if you lose them, you have to start the process over and reinvest in a new person from a business perspective. Continuity of care, right? Continuity of care on the football field, it would be about coaching and playing and things of that nature. In the business world, it would be about not losing efficiency. So to your question, I'd rather hire internally if we have that individual that I've been grooming as a potential bench strength individual that will come and step in versus fully going outside. Now, there's one caveat. The caveat is if we've invested, we've tried to grow bench strength, and we just don't think they can step up, right, to that level of responsibility, then I hire outside. But I make damn sure that that outside hire is everything that I want because we are taking a huge risk on that individual. So I hope I answered that from a business perspective, but I think you can draw the analogy to football because it's the same damn thing.
Let me just real quick because he made this is why I'm glad from a business.
I'm throwing flags.
No, but hold on, but he asked the question because I'm going to go back to you because that's the thing.
I want to ask
because listen to what he said, and we're talking about bench. So what Norfolk had done to Mr. Johnson's point, they had a bench. They had gotten coaches. They had coached. They knew what they were doing. Things like that. They had tried that. It was not successful for Norfolk State. That's what I'm talking. I want to be very clear. So now to his other point, they're saying, hey, let's try something where a guy with talent. But here's the thing where I think Mr. Johnson said, and I think we saw this with Deion Sanders. When you do not have that experience, it starts to show. How many times did we see Deion Sanders in game situations didn't make the right call? We saw it in Colorado happen a lot, actually, because he never had coached. He had never been in those positions, and we didn't see him. So my thing is with Michael Vick, to your point, Coach, he hasn't been in a situation like, Coach, you would know what to do in 4th and 3. You would know what to do in 2nd and 7. He's going to have to ask somebody. Those are the things that the balance that I guess the question comes in at. With Sam Shea, with the fit that I'm talking about at Alabama A&M, it's a perfect fit. He's in that area. They know him. They believe it, and he has the talent. But I don't think Sam Shea would translate over in Norfolk State, Coach.
I want to add to you. I want to add to the analogy because it's something you left out some very important things, Steve. So, Mr. Johnson, to that analogy,
sure.
But I want to add to this same business model that you're talking about. We got to add to that. This is your business, and it's been your business for some years. But you've been bleeding money for the past.
I've been what?
You've been
Sorry.
bleeding money in the red for the past 6
Right.
years. Bleeding money. But
Right.
also have you been bleeding money? The thing is, you bleeding money, but now I'm looking at some resume because now I'm in a fork in the road. I'm tired of bleeding money. I'm in a fork in the road, and I got to make a decision. So instead of just saying the analogy that we got somebody that I've been training, because how I'm going to be grooming somebody, and I'm going to roll with somebody that I'm grooming, and I've been bleeding. He been with me while I've been bleeding. So if we all been losing, right, in this analogy, the person I'm grooming been with me while I'm bleeding money. It's almost like the blind lead the blind. But again, I still see a little hope that I could change and he could give us some prosperity, because my company has been in the red for as long as I had it. But now there's somebody over here that I know we may not win the way that I want us to, but he gonna get us in the black. We might not become a Fortune 500 company, but he gonna get us in the black. Even if he decides to leave the company will, instead of being on rough waters, it'll be calm waters when he leaves. That's the difference.
So I'm gonna give you a couple answers. Thank you for triggering a couple thoughts. Number one, you can't be a successful president and CEO of any company if you're living in the red all the time. That's number one. I'm not who I am and doing it for 17 years. Number one is because I went to an HBCU. Let me be clear. Okay. But number two, I manage my company checkbook like I manage my personal checkbook. I don't overcommit on the expenditure side unless I understand revenues coming in, right? And that's how you run your personal finances. That's how you should run your business. So, number one, shame on the institution for letting an AD or a head coach perform in the red for multiple years. That is a strategic blunder and an infrastructure issue. And that goes back to that policy body that I started off with. That's number one. Number two, one of the big points I said, the big but was, if you're trying to build your bench strength in-house and you're pretty sure that you don't have that individual that can step up and take on that level of responsibility, that's when you decide to go externally and bring in that hire. So I hear your point, Coach, but I guess the only thing that I would say to you is no one should be allowed to operate in the red for over 6 months, because then you're starting to go underwater and you're subsidizing your operation.
One thing, Coach, before we go, because I don't want anybody to attack none of us. I'm using that analogy. Norfolk State is not in the red. I'm using an analogy. I don't come attacking everybody saying we say they manage money. No, that's not the case. We're just using that analogy.
And that's why I'm not naming names or universities or anything. I'm just saying, from a strict business perspective, you would never manage in the red.
Well,
you just don't do it.
So I would like to kind of shift the analogy, Rudy, if possible, right?
Sure.
Say they're not operating in the red, but say they have a warehouse, a 100,000 foot warehouse, and their market share doesn't require them to hold that much inventory at one time, and the warehouse in and of itself is a liability, not because it's a warehouse, but just because it's so much space to maintain on your books. You know what I mean? Wouldn't it be prudent to make some type of innovative move to gain market share, even if it isn't profitable right off the bat, but capturing that market share justifies the expense of holding that warehouse? And in that case, right, that keeps you out of the red. You understand what I'm saying? Because eventually holding that asset and only using half of the space is going to run you in the red over time, right? And so what I'm saying is, can't you give Norfolk or somebody else an opportunity to capture market share, even if there's a significant business expense to it, but you got to give them a chance to capture market share, because without it, you're doomed anyway.
Yeah, yes and no. Number one, let me say, asset growth is only good if you're gaining equity as that growth goes, right? So you can hold on to an asset that you may not necessarily need, to your point, as long as you're growing equity in that asset and it's keeping pace with your expenditure. Then that is a positive. If you have an asset that is really stretching you financially and there's no equity growth, then my recommendation is you sell that puppy, you downsize, and then you grow organically when you're ready to grow. All right. So that's number one. Number two, I've always been of the opinion that I'm conservative by nature, coach. You know, I'm conservative with my personal assets. I'm conservative with the business assets. So I live under my means personally and from a business perspective. And when I've gained enough in my reserve, I always keep a little money in my pocket, as we used to say back at TSU. Once I'm ready to make a move, I take my little pocket change and then we reinvest into growing and scaling the operation, which could involve buying a bigger asset, coach. So go ahead. So no, I was just saying, I think coach was right when you said, is it okay to keep an asset you can grow into if there's equity growth along with that? The answer is yes.
Or if you're landlocked with the asset, if your business operates on that property, right? You can't just sell the property because it's, and this is what I look at schools in this regard, Rudy.
Mm-hmm.
A school is a situation where they're kind of bound by their own confines, meaning that they only can operate within their own operation, and there's only a limited things they can do to kind of build their brand, expand market share, become more popular, create. You know what I mean? They can't go out and do anything. So the one thing they could do from a football standpoint to create energy within their fan base, one of those things is hire a coach that generates energy, right? Okay.
Yep.
And especially in a situation where you've tried winning through traditional means, right? By hiring a Dawson Odoms that comes from Southern, who has had a winning program at Southern, and you hire him and you bring him in and you hire him for 4 years, and your program is essentially worse off than it was when he arrived. Like, you can go through the traditional means, but at some point, I think schools are restricted as to what they can do. So there has to be a wild card. They have to introduce a wild card or take a chance, so to speak, in an untraditional fashion. How do you manage that in business?
So number one, I told you I'm conservative in nature, baby. I'm gonna tell you this: if I'm investing $100,000 or $200,000 a year in an individual, I want to make sure I'm getting $100,000 or $200,000 return on their productivity. You know, if not, I'm evaluating them year over year, and at some point, I have to separate the relationship if it's not benefiting the organization. So that's just off the rip. I'm gonna tell you, I'm not going to invest in a 5-year, $200,000 contract, and I'm not getting a return on that in the second or third year, because then I'm going underwater and I'm subsidizing that when I can just cut ties, regroup, and fix that. So that's number one. Okay. Number two, I would say this: if we have a reserve fund, and I knew this was going to be what I call a loss leader to begin with, which is where I think you're going, coach. Like, hey, I told the board, I'm going to subsidize this thing for 5 years and I have the money to do that, then that's a different conversation. But I don't think that's what we're talking about when we're talking about these employment contracts. I think the expectation is that the coach is going to generate revenue through his performance to bring back that return on that initial investment. I think that's what the contract is all about.
Come on,
Absolutely.
Come on, coach.
Let me talk now.
Yeah.
Let me all this bullshit and all this kind of stuff. Nobody has no fucking idea of what Mike Dick here. I love Dick. I was impressed with him. He was a hell of a football player. and all the rest of the celebrity coaches that's coming in here with no coaching experience, no NCAA rule violation, don't know nothing about Dawn Patrol, don't know nothing about scholarships, don't know nothing about Pell Grant, don't know about working with scholarships, don't know nothing about working with young people. It just don't happen, man. We had a guy named Michael Haywood, was a great friend of mine, coached at LSU, Michigan State, national championship team, came to Texas Southern and got his head beat in. Nobody knew how much. And he matter of fact, he won the MAC conference in Miami. We had another coach called Coach McKinney, coached at University of Houston, coached at Texas A&M, coached at U of A. He came in and got dusted. Now we're saying that we're gonna bring a guy in to me that I read up on Michael Vick, and I hate to this is not a Michael Vick put down, believe me. But since he damn on the damn fire, I'm gonna turn him and throw some skin, some barbecue on him and all that. His own book, he says, I never really studied the plays. All I did was came to the meetings and went to the meetings through my playbook in my back pocket or in my car, and I drove off. And when a game started, if the primary guy wasn't open, I just took off and used my talent. Okay? When he was at the University of Virginia Tech, I know some guys there. He went to class with a Sharpie, not with a pencil, not with paper, with a Sharpie, to sign autographs and move on. What am I saying? I'm saying that Michael Vick wasn't a cerebral kind of guy. I didn't say he wasn't smart. I didn't say he was dumb. I say he wasn't a cerebral type of guy. Now we're talking about, okay, he's from this area. I want to know, why should we give him the job? What have he done? Does he got skin in the game? What has he done for Norfolk from coming from the Tidewater area, going to Virginia Tech, going to the NFL? And when he's came back, what have he done for Norfolk? He don't deserve the job. He's done nothing for Norfolk besides being a graduate there.
Here's the thing.
I'm talking right now, God. Go ahead. I'm talking, and I hear people on this thing talking about recycle SWAC coaches. Well, damn it, they recycle championship coaches all the time. We catch a phrase and then we run with it. And then that's why Eddie Robinson said it 20-some years ago when I was on the bus riding. It says, when these people get in these situations and don't know nothing about college football, our programs go down. Zoe, you attested it. When we went and hired Coach Bell at Jackson State, who went over there and started talking about, oh, well, these kids ain't this and these kids ain't that. The program went to dirt. Correct? Yeah. Went to dirt. Guys, we got HBCU coaches who have put skin in this game, who deserve that. We got 40 HBCU schools.
Eric Dooley, coach. That's one name I put on there, Eric Dooley.
Where he just had bad time. He was recycled several times, coach. He was on some championship teams, and when they thought he could be in control, he went down. All right, coach. Man, don't mess with train of thought up. I'm in this thing. All right. So, guys, we got 40 schools to give head coaching jobs to. Okay, for us blacks, folks, we always got to make the change. The white folks got 25 PWI schools. We still at 10%. Then we got another Division I AA schools we ain't hard at. And then we got Division II schools we ain't hard at. Then we got 3 Division III schools we ain't hard at. So tell me, HBCUs were built for us. I know times are different now. We can go to other schools, but they ain't changed. So why should we? In leadership roles. And I think, and you correct me, Mr. Johnson, that when you're the president, the board, the AD, you have a physical responsibility, all right? You have a responsibility to make sure that we go out and hire the right people for our student body. Not coming in and talk about, oh, well, we'll just put a coaching staff around him. Well, You know what PWIs do for that? Like Vincent Young, he works for University of Texas because he won the national title. Earl Campbell, these guys, they put them in those places to go raise money. That's what they do. But don't be telling me, I'm a college football coach. I'm a damn good coach. So what you guys are telling me is that the championships I won and the stuff I have done don't mean nothing and ain't about nothing. Because anybody can do that. And
No,
anybody
I
can
don't think Coach. Okay, so I'm
no, I'm done.
Yeah. So listen. So I'm gonna. This goes back to my point about fit versus potential and talent. So here's the thing: Dawson Odom's won championships. He won division championships, right?
Right.
You will agree, right?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I put that in there. Their last 5 coaches who all had coaching experience finished with losing records.
From
Okay?
HBCU, Steve, from HBCU.
From HBCUs. Dawson Odoms, who had a hell of a track record at Southern, they brought him up there and paid him a lot of money. And he finished with an overall losing record. So if you have a program, now, we're not talking about the Blue Bloods, okay? We're not talking about Jack State FAMUs and things like that that could have depth and things like that. And we're talking about a school that has nothing to do with it. This is not a football school. Never thought about football. So what do you do? Because, Coach, I'm going to tell you this. If you are, let me ask you, if you're Sam Shade, Teddy Keaton, Tremaine Jackson, would you take that job or would you take the Prairie View job?
Well, one, I'm going to take the Prairie View job.
Okay. Wait a minute. So you just
what I'm
my
saying.
point. Okay, listen. If you were the coaches that had the ability, what I just said, there is a job. There are 2 jobs that are open, the Norfolk job and the Prairie View job. You just said you would take the Prairie View. Exactly. That is what Norfolk State is also dealing with. Just don't say they can go get the greatest guy when there are other
Hell,
jobs.
Coach, you're looking at the greatest guy.
Well, no,
That's
no,
bullshit.
okay.
Because you can go get a Sam Shade. You can go get.
But Coach, Sam Shade is not going to listen. You're proving my point, Coach. Sam Shade is. If I'm Sam Shade, there's no way I'm taking the Norfolk State job versus Alabama A&M or versus Prairie View. Those are better fits for me.
Coach, you can't put him at them schools right now. Today, he's at Miles College, a Division II school. He would go to Norfolk State.
He would take that, Coach.
Steve, I'm gonna say this, Coach. Steve, you going about the wrong way. I'm gonna prove the point to you. Okay, Coach. In your whole soliloquy, you asked a great question, but you asked the wrong question. Your question was, what has he done? Right? That's what you asked.
Big done.
But here's the thing. As an AD, that's the wrong question. First off, what school is this? It's an HBCU, right? What are HBCUs known as? Low resource institutions. Right or wrong? Right or wrong?
But there's rumor.
Right or wrong? Here's the thing. You asked what did he do. The question is,
let me say something. Now, I'm going to introduce you, so let me tell you something. I had 7 scholarships at Lane College. 7, Coach. And I beat everybody in the conference. So don't tell me about the money. If I got a football field that's 53 yards wide and 100 yards long, I'm going to win.
Coach, everything
bullshit about no famous guy because I played in the NFL.
Everything that you're saying is doing this right here. It's going over your head. Let me tell you why. It's not just about wins and losses. That's what you're not getting. You ask the question, what has he done? It ain't what he's done. It's what he can do. It's what he can do. See, here's the thing. Prime said it. What constitutes as a win? See, for Norfolk State, it ain't just wins and losses in the win and loss column. It's what he can do for the trajectory of the program. Norfolk State is a perennial loser. Winning ain't just going to change their problems or what Michael Vick is going to do for that program. I guarantee you, Sam Shade could go to Norfolk State. He can have 2 undefeated seasons, and he still won't do what Michael Vick can do with 8 wins. That's a fact.
That ain't no fact.
Yes, it is.
It ain't no fact because he ain't Norfolk, and he ain't won not one game. It ain't no fact.
Sam Shade cannot change the perennial outview to the nation. He cannot. He can't.
I disagree, Coach.
Hey, Coach Cole, you and I had a brief conversation. You and I had a brief conversation yesterday.
You know why? Hold on, let me talk. You know why I disagree, Zoe? Eddie George just won the championship, right?
Yeah.
You know how many people they had at the championship game? 1,500. 1,500. So what dynamics had he changed? Matter of fact, the school. Hold on. The school is broke. They pay him $469,000. They pay both coordinators $120. The lowest coach on their staff is making $65. That's at any black school. That's hardly any black. So hiring Eddie George, this celebrity coach who took 5 years to win the championship, the school is broke. 4 years. Okay, 4 years. The school is broke. So tell me, how have he helped Alabama, Tennessee State?
Okay. Well, I'm not see you saying school. I can tell you what he did for the football program. So with the football program, because let's speak about the changes that he's done. Okay, they got new turf in the indoor practice facility, new weight room, and the upgraded facilities. They got upgraded, added a training table because they didn't have it before he got there. They got training tables since he's been there. They got brand new turf fields since he's been inside the indoor practice field. They're in talks.
They didn't have that, coach. That was in the
no. I said they put new turf in the indoor practice facility. They did. They put new turf.
You think because of Eddie George?
Hold on.
You know I worked there, so I'm gonna make some calls.
And he won, coach. He played on national television.
You asked me what has he done. I'm
but my man said winning don't matter. He said winning don't matter.
That ain't what he said.
No, I didn't say winning don't matter. I did not say winning don't matter. I said winning isn't the only thing that matters. That's what I said, and it's true. It's true. It's just like I tell you what. It's just like when you got it's just like if you married and got your old lady. Love ain't the only thing that's gonna sustain you. Same thing. You got to do more than just win. See, yeah, winning keep you on your job. Winning just keep you from being promoted to customer. That's all it does. But you got other responsibilities outside of it. And if you ain't elevating that program, because again, we're talking about Norfolk State. I mean, they like Dallas for crying out loud. Ain't nobody talking about they got tarps over all the seats in the stadium. Seriously. So Michael Vick already right now, before this announcement today, you and I, nobody on the screen would have ever said the words NSU nowhere. You know it, I know it. Ain't nobody talking about no Norfolk State.
And I said this, though. I said the publicity that Norfolk State will get from just hiring Mike Vick, they couldn't even afford the publicity and marketing that is going to cause just the sheer hysteria, popularity, the news reports, all that. They couldn't afford the publicity that hiring Michael Vick is going to cause. It ain't even hit mainstream media yet, and it's all over. It's the talk of HBCU. Once it gets known in mainstream media that the sports icon, Mike Vick, is the head coach of Norfolk, essentially Norfolk State, where his hometown is, it's going to take over the sports.
Hear what I just said. You guys are talking about and what you think is going to be and what you think is going to be done.
Coach, if
you got Eddie George, that's a Heisman Trophy winner, have went to Tennessee State, and I just told you guys, you guys are right. I guess winning don't mean everything, because at the championship game, they had 1,500 people.
But Coach, you're comparing the profile. Wait a minute, Rocky. Hold on, because let's get it back, because we have a guest here that I think brings value.
Well, we're gonna let him. He said he was gonna sit back and evaluate.
Okay, well, hold on. Well, Coach, let me ask you this. Hold on. So you're telling me, because we got to keep this in context.
Yes.
That Eddie George has the same known Q rating and profile as a Michael Vick.
That's it.
Yes.
No, Coach.
Even more. He's a Heisman Trophy winner.
No, Coach. Coach.
You guys are down south. Y'all down south. Eddie George played at the Ohio State. Are y'all crazy?
There's no such thing as the Eddie George experience.
Yeah, Coach. No. Eddie George. No, Coach. Listen. No, hold on. Wait. I'm gonna tell you this.
Michael Vick is bigger than Eddie George.
Wait, Coach. Hold on. Listen, Coach. I will say this, and this is somebody, and we put it on the screen. And I'm telling you, I have been around Eddie George personally. Coach Eddie Rob confirmed that. I have been around Michael Vick personally, and we put it right. Did we not put it on the screen? And I'm telling you, from a marketing standpoint, because this is what Norfolk State, to those point, this is a marketing play also. This is a value of marketing, not a coaching play, Coach. Because if you say, because clearly he's not the most qualified coach. This is a marketing play for Norfolk State. But you're not going to tell me for Michael Vick, for this generation, millennial and Gen Z that's below them, that they played a video game with this guy that run around and little kids will run around with 7 jerseys, that man in that area is not going to carry more weight than what Eddie George carried. I'm just telling you.
No, I'll tell mine. Eddie George is a Heisman Trophy winner. He's an all-pro running back from the Ohio State. And y'all telling me that Michael Vick is a bigger draw than Eddie George.
Which is a more high profile?
Let me say this.
Wait. Wait a minute. Which one is a more high-profile position? Being a quarterback or being a running back? Let's start there.
As being the number 1 running back in the NFL.
No. Well, wait a minute. Michael Vick was a number 1 pick as a black man.
No, you guys are Southern guys. I get.
No, coach.
I'm up top. I know where the Ohio State.
You wouldn't even consider Virginia the South.
Hey, Rudy, can you interject?
Coach, because I'm going to nail you down on this. Because I'm not going to let you run from this. Because here's the thing: this has nothing to do with Southern. Michael Vick has nothing. This is not a regional thing. Michael Vick for black people at a certain age group. No different than Deion Sanders for my age group. Rocky's here because of Deion, because we grew up with Deion Sanders. Okay? So I know the hysteria that Scotty and them, oh my God, Michael Vick. Because when Deion came, I was super excited because I saw this man do things that another athlete never did.
He brought the culture to the sport. Like, see, that's the 2 things that Mike Vick and Deion Sanders have in common.
Vick for Norfolk State, for the last have never had a winning season, coach. And we're sitting up here having a conversation that you're animated about here. If this was Teddy Keaton, we talk about this 30 minutes and move on.
Time out. I think that's where y'all missing my point. And let me make sure my audience know. I'm really speaking of HBCU graduates that's in this coaching realm and how we are not taken serious. And that's why, and I talked with you about that, Zoe, right? I really want to move Michael Vick out the picture. See, now it's about Michael Vick. And I definitely, first of all, I'm for all brothers making it. All right. So I didn't want to get here. Did I talk to you like about that, Zoe?
Yeah, you did.
Did. And when I even introduced it, I didn't want to specifically about Michael Vick. I didn't want to.
But you got to address the elephant in the room because we.
Hold on, coach. Let me bring it home.
I will. But I'm speaking of HBCU schools are not giving HBCU graduates and what we've been through and having skin in the game, opportunity to develop, and economically, coaches, it ain't right. We're missing our calling on making the $200,000 and $300,000 and $400,000, which their assistant coaches at these PWI schools make that money. And economically, it don't make us stronger as black folks. But that's what they made our schools.
Hold on, wait, coach.
So go ahead.
Prairie
Go
View
ahead. I'm listening.
Wait a minute, coach. Hold on, wait a minute, guy. Because Prairie View is probably going to hire a traditional coach. Would you not agree? More likely than not.
I know who they're going to hire.
Okay, well, there you go. It's not a celebrity. Mississippi Valley is probably going to hire a traditional coach. More likely than not. It's not a celebrity.
Yeah, I don't know.
Alabama, well, no, we can
see. I'm HBCU. I don't give a damn. Ain't none of the jobs should go to anybody outside HBCU.
Okay, so Tremaine Jackson.
One job.
Okay,
because we only got 40 chances.
I got that, but coach, what I'm saying is the majority of coaches have been filled with guys that do have some relationship with HBCUs. Would you not agree?
Let me
Sean
say
Gibbs.
I wouldn't have started this show if I felt that way. I would be a hypocrite if I wouldn't sit here and stand up for HBCU, just like Zoe told them guys at Jackson State, TC Taylor need to be our coach. We don't need to go out and hire no splash. We got him right here. How many we have at the championship game? 36,000. How many y'all averaged this year, coach at Jackson State?
I can't remember.
39,000, maybe. They ain't ended it up yet.
They live one double A again. It don't matter.
Right?
Here's the point, because I did talk to coach. I want to say this. I always say 2 things can be true. So here's the thing. And for all intents and purposes, I agree with coach. I think we all do. I do agree with you, Coach. You know what I'm saying? And we do want to see pretty much every job where, HBCU coaches matriculate, you know what I'm saying, through it, and they reap the benefit of the big contract, and then they could possibly even parlay it on however they see fit, whether it's to the FBS level or to the NFL or whatever their goal is. And we all can be in agreement for that to happen. But two things can be true. The reason why I don't have any issue, and I actually think it's perfect for, and I have to say Michael Vick only for this particular job. That's why I prefaced my comments earlier about saying, would it be a big deal if he goes anywhere? Yeah, because he's Michael Vick. But I think for this job in particular, because I'm going to be honest, I don't foresee any coach, whether it's Tremaine Jackson, Keaton, whoever, I don't see any coach going to Norfolk State in the money.
That's
you know
what
why?
I said earlier.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because the data shows so. I'm gonna bring this back home to something. Because I told you this, Coach. To me, whether it's Deion Sanders, Eddie George, or Michael Vick, what they really highlights, because we talked about what they do off the field and how it can upgrade something, right? What it really highlights is everything else that's not being done. Because watch this. If everything else was done when all the alums were giving back and going to the games and doing their due diligence, if all of that's being done, then I can probably assure you there will be no need to go after Michael Vick. There will be no need to go after Deion Sanders. Because look at what we're doing with TC Taylor right now. But even still, we still weren't averaging 40,000. We got a decrease from when Deion Sanders left. Jackson State should be averaging about 40 to 45,000 fans every game, but we're not. But if all things lined up like we're supposed to be doing it, if all the ADs and presidents were doing their work and the fans were doing their due diligence, then yeah, there will be no need to go that route. But that's water under the bridge because we're here now. And because we're here for a program like Norfolk State, it makes tangible sense why you go and get Michael Vick. Because not just saying, hey, I want to get a celebrity coach and bring him here because he's from around here. It's a multifaceted thing, and it's multi-layered. Michael Vick, hold on, watch this. Michael Vick is a homegrown legend from here. He's the second coming to Deion. Deion Sanders was Michael Jordan in cleats. Michael Vick is not to Deion Sanders' level, but damn it, he close. Now, at the end of the day, you get that here. He's from here, born and raised. Guess what else? We already know who the O-line coach is. Another guy from Hampton. There's talk of some other guys possibly from that same area being on the staff. That's a fertile ground. We could take this thing to new heights that is never, ever seen before. And trust me, Coach, you can't do that with Teddy Keaton. You can't do it with Sam Shade. You can't do it with no other HBCU coach. It cannot happen. Now, can somebody possibly win some games there? Pete Adrian did in his best season. He won 7 games.
Okay, good.
So let's get Rudy.
Let me get my guess in. I got you. So let me get my guess in, Coach. All right, we don't throw some punches up in here.
Boy, I love it. I love this conversation. But again, I'm gonna take it back to business. Number one, obviously, whoever made that decision, and I'm assuming it was the athletic director in concert with the president, who probably got the blessing from the board of trustees. They felt like whatever investment they're going to make in Michael Vick is going to have a return over time. The question that I would have is, what is the time frame they're giving Michael Vick to kind of, make good on his return on that investment back to the university? That's number one. Number two, I kind of understand what Coach Cole is saying in that I think there are times when we should be looking to hire HBCU alumni or HBCU folks or coaches. But here's a question I have for you, Coach Cole, and the rest of the coaches. How many HBCU presidents do we have sitting on these campuses kind of making these decisions, these executive decisions? In other words, when I look at the president's suite, am I looking at individuals that went to HBCUs or matriculated from that particular HBCU? I'm assuming in some cases, yes, but I'm not sure what that trend is in the world of Black college in terms of hiring presidents around the country right now. So that would be my number 2 thing. And then the last thing I would say is I'm going to give anyone an opportunity for 2 or 3 years in a business. In the business world, I'll give you 2 or 3 years. And then after that, you know, I need to see some kind of return. I need to see whether it's wins or losses, revenue back to the program, or as Coach mentioned, are we getting some kind of value on the brand? Like, is there some brand awareness that you know, matriculates into some type of, you know, price or some type of return from a monetary perspective? Is something going on? So I would say those 3 things. I don't really have an opinion on the coaching, you know, assessment of Michael Vick. I wish the brother well. I hope he does well. But I would just like to see more HBCU folks be HBCU leaders.
Coach,
Well, Mr. Johnson, let me ask you,
I got one question. Hold on. I got one question. They said, can you take the time off and really give us the damn
Coach, y'all don't want me to do this. Now, hey, I'm from Hey,
well,
I'm a Q now.
Black college.
Well, here's the thing. I think you brought me on to give you the business assessment, so I'm gonna give you the business of it, but I can give you all phases of it. But go ahead, Coach. I'm sorry.
I gotta ask you a question.
Yes.
So, in the interview process,
yes,
is it Michael Vick's job to provide a pathway or evidence for that return on investment? Or should it be somebody in the administration who wants to bring him on to provide that pathway to the return on investment?
It's absolutely not Michael Vick's responsibility to provide that vision to those hiring authorities. They're hiring authorities. The hiring authorities that usually has the purse to go with it, because it's a 3-dimensional chess game. Number 1, you're assessing the talent. Can the man get it done? Number 2, you're looking at your checkbook. And number 3, you're looking at the ancillary benefits for that hire, right? It's absolutely not Michael Vick's responsibility to do that assessment in the course of that interview. This is why I say, and let's get off of Michael Vick, because I'm rooting for the brother. Let's just talk about HBC.
My name is Danny Wilson, and I won $500 on the lunch break of AJ Jones.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.